Have you ever imagined a simple Washington quarter hiding a fortune worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars? These ordinary-looking coins, tossed in pockets or lost in drawers, can actually change your life overnight. Some of them have shocking mint errors, secret varieties, and hidden designs that collectors will pay outrageous sums for. What if the coin lying on your table right now is worth more than a gold necklace? Stay tuned, because today we're diving deep into the most unexpected Washington quarters that turn pocket change into jaw-dropping treasure. First up, the 1984 Washington quarter dollar, the coin that can shock you with its hidden value. Imagine holding a 25-cent coin that could secretly be worth more than $10,000. Sounds insane, right? But that's exactly what's happening with some 1984 Washington quarters. These coins might look completely ordinary, but inside their metal hides a shocking story of minting mistakes, rare strikes, and collector obsession that has turned this humble piece of pocket change into a collector's dream. Let's start with the basics. The 1984 Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but not all quarters are created equal. Most people think all 1984 quarters are just common circulation coins, but what they don't realize is that a handful were struck with unbelievable minting errors. These mistakes, so tiny you could miss them with the naked eye, have made collectors go absolutely crazy. One rare 1984 P quarter with a double die obverse error once sold for thousands of dollars because of the doubled "In God We Trust" letters on the front. Now picture this. Someone found that coin in a pocket full of change. They thought it was just another quarter until a coin dealer nearly jumped out of his chair after seeing it under magnification. That's how shocking these coins can be. Let's talk about how to identify the valuable ones. First, look closely at George Washington's profile, specifically around the eye, lips, and neck area. If you notice any extra metal lines, doubling of letters, or weird shadowing, don't ignore it. That could be a double die variety, and it could change your financial situation overnight. Collectors are paying massive prices for clean examples. Some listings have crossed $5,000 to $10,000 for high-grade, well-defined error coins. And then there's the mint mark mystery. The 1984 D quarter from the Denver Mint is one of the most talked-about coins from the 80s. While millions were struck, only a few survived in MS-67 or MS-68 condition, meaning they're nearly flawless under magnification. Those high-grade coins, slabbed and certified by PeaceGS or NGC, can command shocking prices, well above $1,500 at auction. One such example, a 1984 D-graded MS-68, stunned the collecting world when it fetched thousands of dollars because of its mirror-like surfaces and near-perfect strike. But that's not all. The proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, Marcus, are another category entirely. These were specially made for collectors, with frosted designs and mirror backgrounds. However, some 1984 S-proof quarters slipped through with improperly polished dies or missing frosting, creating a strange, almost ghost-like effect on Washington's face. Believe it or not, those unusual frostless or mirror-like proof coins can sell for hundreds of dollars each. Now, here's the real kicker. Some 1984 quarters were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchets. Instead of the standard copper-nickel clad, they were struck on nickel planchets or even foreign blanks used for other coins. That kind of mint error can skyrocket the value instantly. There was a verified 1984 quarter struck on a 5-cent nickel planchet, and it sold for over $7,500. Imagine flipping a coin and realizing it's the wrong color or a bit lighter. That could be the jackpot. And let's not forget the condition factor. Regular circulated coins might bring you pocket change, but coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS-67 or higher, are what collectors chase. Out of millions minted, only a microscopic fraction survive without scratches, wear, or marks. That rarity drives the value into the thousands. Collectors and treasure hunters are now searching old rolls, coin jars, and even vending machine change for these gems. Many coin shops report that 1984 quarters are becoming harder to find in mint condition, which adds another layer of rarity. It's almost like the more people learn about this coin, the faster it disappears from circulation. And here's a shocking twist. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered varieties from 1984 sitting in collections, completely unnoticed. They say the minting process that year had some inconsistencies that could have produced unique errors we haven't even identified yet. Imagine being the person who discovers a new variety and has it named after you. That's not just luck, that's coin collecting history. Even without errors, a regular 1984 quarter in MS67 or MS68 condition can make you a serious profit. We're talking values between $700 and $2,000, depending on the strike quality, luster, and overall appearance. Coins with deep, satiny surfaces and clean fields are what grading services love. The moral of the story? Never underestimate pocket change. Because if you happen to spot a slightly different Washington quarter, one with off-center designs, a double date, a missing letter, or just looks off, you could be holding something worth more than an entire paycheck. The 1984 Washington quarter has become a legend among modern-era collectors. Its mix of errors, rarity in top grades, and the nostalgia of early ADS coinage makes it irresistible. For most people, it's a coin they'd spend on a soda. But for those who know what to look for, it's a treasure. Next up, the 1970 Washington quarter dollar. The hidden jackpot coin you might have right now. Imagine this. You're checking through your old coin jar, fingers brushing through dull silver edges, and suddenly one coin catches your eye. A simple Washington quarter from 1970. You think it's just a quarter. But what if I told you that same coin could secretly be worth $30,000 or more? That's right. This single 25-cent piece could be the most shocking discovery of your life. The 1970 Washington quarter is one of those coins that hides its power behind a normal face. Minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning into more modern processes, some truly unbelievable minting errors slipped through. And those are the ones that are shaking the collector world even today. Let's start with the legend. The 1970 S-proof Washington quarter struck over a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you heard that right. Somehow, a few Canadian planchets from 1941 were reused by mistake at the U.S. Mint, and when the dies struck them with Washington's image, faint traces of King George VI could still be seen underneath. Imagine seeing Washington's face overlapping another king's, a combination of two nations in one coin. That accident created one of the most talked about mint errors in modern history. Collectors went absolutely wild when this discovery surfaced. One of these coins sold for an unbelievable $35,000, and others have been privately traded for amounts rumored to be even higher. It's a collector's dream come true, a real-life treasure hidden in plain sight, tucked away in old proof sets or family coin albums. Now, what makes this coin even more thrilling is that it's not just this one error that makes 1970 special. There are multiple versions in mint marks: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S, and each carries its own potential surprise. Let's talk about the 1970 D quarter first. While millions were minted, finding one in perfect mint condition, no scratches, sharp strike, bright luster, is almost impossible. Most have seen decades of wear and circulation, but a few untouched examples, graded MS67 or MS68 by PCGS or NGC, have sold for $2,500 to $3,000. The shocking part? These coins look just like every other 1970 quarter to the naked eye. Now, the real collector magic happens with the San Francisco proofs. The 1970 S-proof quarter has two subtle varieties: the small date and large date. The difference lies in the size and spacing of the numbers. The 7 and 0 are positioned slightly differently. While casual collectors might never notice it, experts know that the large date variety, in pristine, deep cameo condition, can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The small date version, on the other hand, has its own group of passionate followers who love its rarity and visual balance. And let's not forget the error coins, the off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double strikes, and misaligned dies. Each of these errors adds a unique fingerprint to a coin, and collectors love one-of-a-kind mistakes. A 1970 quarter struck offsetter by even 10% can fetch $400 to $800, while one that's dramatically off-center, showing part of a blank rim, can climb over $1,000. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Rumors exist about 1970 quarters struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. While not officially confirmed by the Mint, experts have speculated for years about their existence. And if one were ever authenticated, its value could skyrocket into the tens of thousands. Imagine finding a silver 1970 quarter when everyone believes they were long gone. That would be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The 1970 Washington quarter represents a turning point in U.S. coinage. The fading of silver, the rise of modern minting, and the unexpected beauty of human error. Every small imperfection tells a story. The faint double strike on "In God We Trust," a misaligned rim, a ghostly outline of a previous design. Each one could transform an ordinary 25-cent coin into a jaw-dropping collectible. Collectors worldwide now call the 1970 quarter a mystery coin. Why? Because its variations, errors, and unknown survivors make it impossible to fully list or track. New varieties still surface from private collections and estate sales every few years, keeping this coin's legend alive. Let's talk numbers, because that's what makes this coin so shocking. Regular 1970 D quarters in circulated condition, worth 25 cents to a few dollars. 1970 D in MS 67, worth around $2,500 to $3,000. 1970 S proof in deep cameo, around $200 to $400. 1970 S struck over 1941 Canadian quarter, $35,000 to $45,000 and possibly more. That's the definition of a jaw-dropping difference. And think about this. Thousands of people have one of these coins in their collection or coin jar right now without realizing it. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar. The hidden fortune in your pocket. What if the quarter jingling in your pocket right now wasn't worth 25 cents, but $25,000? Sounds impossible, right? Yet that's exactly what has happened with some 1980 Washington quarters. These small, silver-colored coins have shocked collectors around the world, and the truth behind their hidden value will leave you absolutely speechless. The 1980 Washington quarter is one of the most fascinating coins of the modern era. It was struck at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. And while hundreds of millions were produced, a small fraction came out with extraordinary errors, misstrikes, or near-perfect conditions that transformed them from pocket change into high-dollar collectibles. Let's start with the Philadelphia Mint coins, because they hold one of the most talked-about mysteries. Most 1980 P quarters look ordinary, but under magnification, a few rare examples show an extreme double-die obverse, a visible doubling on the date 1980, the letters in Liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." To an untrained eye, it looks like a blur, but to collectors, it's gold. One of these dramatic double-die coins sold for over $5,000, and experts believe there may still be undiscovered examples in circulation today. Then there's the Denver Mint 1980D version, famous for its astonishing high-grade values. Because billions of these coins enter daily circulation, finding one that remains perfectly struck with full luster and zero contact marks is next to impossible. Yet when a pristine example appears and earns an MS-68 grade, the price rockets. A certified 1980 D in MS-68 once stunned collectors when it reached over $2,000 at auction. That's for a single coin you could easily mistake for a regular quarter. And that's just the beginning. Some 1980 quarters were accidentally struck on experimental planchets or foreign blanks. The U.S. Mint occasionally tested different metal compositions during that time, and a few slipped into production runs. When these coins surface, their color or weight seems slightly off. A few known examples have been verified and sold for shocking amounts. One piece struck on a nickel planchet sold for nearly $8,000, while another on a copper core blank reached $10,000. These are the once-in-a-lifetime finds that coin hunters dream of. Now let's move to the San Francisco proof coins, the 1980 S Washington quarters. Proof coins were made for collectors, struck with polished dies to achieve a deep mirror background and frosted design. But some of these proofs didn't turn out as planned. A few were minted with missing frosting, creating what collectors call a mirror cameo or ghost proof. The contrast looks eerie, a shining Washington face against a perfectly reflective background. These unusual proofs are worth hundreds, sometimes over $1,000, depending on the depth of the error and their condition. Another major highlight is the off-center strike errors from 1980. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted to one side, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on the rim. These off-center quarters can be worth from $300 to $1,500, depending on how far the design is off and whether the date remains visible. If the date and mint mark are clear, collectors pay even more, because it proves exactly when and where that minting mistake occurred. Now here's a twist most people don't know. A few 1,980 quarters were found struck on 1979 planchets, meaning leftover blanks from the previous year accidentally slipped into the presses. These transitional planchet errors are incredibly rare. They look identical at first glance, but weigh slightly different or show subtle metal variations. One such discovery sold for $6,500, shocking even professional graders. Condition is everything with the 1980 Washington quarter. Because billions were made, only those preserved in gem mint state or higher grades hold serious value. PCGS and NGC grading charts show that even a tiny nick, dull luster, or weak strike can drop a coin's price dramatically. But those few coins graded MS-67 or MS-68, perfectly struck, sharp details, gleaming surfaces, are the ones collectors chase relentlessly. Think about it. Millions of people handled these quarters every day in 1980. They bought sodas, fed parking meters, and dropped them in arcade machines. Yet somewhere among all those spent coins, a handful were hiding incredible value. It's like having a winning lottery ticket that nobody knows about. Let's talk about the most valuable known 1980 quarters on record. 1980 Pete Double Die Obverse, sold for around $5,400. 1980 DMS 68 grade, fetched $2,100. 1980 S-Proof Deep Cameo PR 70, reached nearly $1,000. 1980 error on wrong planchet, smashed expectations at $8,000 to $10,000. Each of these coins looked ordinary until someone took a closer look. That's what makes this story so thrilling. You don't need to be rich to find one. You just need curiosity and a sharp eye. And here's the secret many experts share. Always check the rim and the edges of your 1980 quarters. If you notice misaligned reading, uneven edges, or a strange copper exposure pattern, you could be holding a minting anomaly. Also, pay close attention to the fine details on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the letters of United States of America. A faint doubling or unusual texture might mean you've found a variety worth thousands. What truly makes the 1980 quarter legendary is its combination of rarity, condition scarcity, and mystery. We still don't know exactly how many error coins were produced that year. Some may still be hiding in old jars, forgotten drawers, or dusty coin albums. Every time one surfaces, it reignites the hunt. So, if you're checking your spare change tonight, don't ignore those quarters from 1980. Hold them under bright light, tilt them slowly, and inspect every detail. What looks like an ordinary coin could secretly be a masterpiece of minting history. A coin that survived 4 decades carrying a secret fortune in its metal. Because sometimes the greatest treasures aren't buried in the ground or locked in safes. They're jingling quietly in our pockets, waiting for someone brave enough to look closer. And who knows, maybe the next 1980 Washington quarter that finds its way into your hands will be the one that shocks the entire collecting world once again.